Hey everyone, who said that our stockpiles is for emergency use only? So, I don't know if you're like me, we talk so much about having a stockpile and how important it is to have it for emergencies. Power goes out, loss of income, there's a hurricane, there's a storm, there's a snowstorm. We've talked about the purpose of a stockpile. And these, don't get me wrong, these are all good reasons to have it. Some people have a stockpile for 2 weeks, some 2 months, some 2 years, some for 20 years. Not debating whether you should or shouldn't. No, I should say that. You should have a stockpile, but not debating for how long you should have it. That's, a personal choice. That's up to you. That's what you think you should do, and so on. But if you're like me, I think sometimes we talk about things so much, we kind of get it caught up in our head of, I should have a stockpile because it's for emergency uses, and I should have a stockpile, and these things over here, I have to keep those over there because that's for if and when I have an emergency. Well, as my husband says, what constitutes an emergency? And that's a good question. So you saw some pictures up here tonight, and I didn't have an emergency tonight, but my situation was this. I came home from work. I'm tired. My husband's not been well today. My son had to go to youth group. We were starving, hungry. And my son said, well, how about we order Chinese? And I went, you know what? It's not in the budget this week. Great idea. Nothing wrong with doing Chinese takeout. But I said to him, we're trying to stay on budget. Let me see what I can pull together. And normally it's like, oh no, I didn't take the chicken out of the freezer. I didn't defrost it. What am I going to make for dinner? Here's a perfect example of having canned items, pre-cooked items in your stockpile that you can pull from. So you saw in the beginning, I had a picture of the canned roast beef. And what else did I have in there? I had the rice, and it was the cooked rice. That was Dollar Tree rice, jasmine rice, by the way. I had never tried it. Thumbs up. It was delicious. So I had the jasmine rice, and then I had a can of biscuits in the refrigerator that was getting to, I need to use it in the next day or two. And then I had, if you saw my grocery haul, and then I had my from Stop and Shop, and then I had a refrigerator clean out. I had some cream spinach in there. I wanted to use that up. And then I had a few leftovers in the refrigerator as well. So I said to my husband, give me 10 minutes, dinner will be on the table. So what did I do? I pulled together a dinner from my pantry, overflow pantry, stockpile, whatever you want to call it. I heard somebody refer to it today, having a full pantry. And I really like that. I'm getting tired of that word stockpile. It's starting to just get old, that name. And I thought I liked the name of a full pantry. It sounded more positive, and it sounds more like what I want. I want a full pantry so that when I want to bake, I want to cook, I want to create a new meal or something, I have a full pantry that I can go to, shop from, grab supplies from, and so on. So I grabbed a can of the roast beef. I grabbed a package of the pre-cooked rice. I had the canned biscuits, and I had a few other bits and bobs to pull together and make a meal out of it. And part of me felt like, oh, I shouldn't be using this. This is here for emergency uses. Why? This is there for me to eat. Things will expire. Things do have an expiration date, a best by date, whatever you want to call it. But eventually, things will no longer be good, or not good as they should have been. And the whole purpose is to use the food. Food is there to be eaten. It's not to be, sometimes I think we store it in our stockpile to look at it as if it's a piece of art to be looked at. I'm not waiting for somebody to sign at the bottom that they created this beautiful picture and I want their signature. This is food in my home to feed my family and myself. So it's there to be used and to be eaten. So I want to encourage you tonight that our stockpile is not for emergencies only. Our stockpile is there to be used whenever we need to use it, whenever we need food, whenever we're hungry. Now, you want to make sure you're using up your fresh veggies and fruits and, your loaf of bread and anything that's perishable, that you definitely have to use right away. Absolutely. But tonight, I was in a pinch. I had a window of time, very short window of time. No, I didn't take something out. We could have just made spaghetti or grilled cheese, but, I wanted a nice hot meal. So we had roast beef, we had biscuits, we had rice, and we had a vegetable. It was a great, great meal. And the other night I made rice pilaf, and I had just a little bit of that left, so I stirred that in with the rice. My husband and I like the creamed spinach, but my son doesn't. So I had a little bit of leftover corn and a little bit of leftover broccoli. So you'll see the different plates at the very end, or I think I had it maybe in the beginning, and I'll put it again at the end. So on his plate, he had the broccoli, the corn, the rice, the roast beef, and a biscuit. He was happy. So my husband had the creamed spinach and the roast beef and the rice and a biscuit, and he had takeout from the weekend with fried okra that he never got a chance to eat. So I threw that in the air fryer, warmed it up. That was his meal. And then I just had the biscuit, the creamed spinach, the rice, and the roast beef. And let me tell you, it was perfect. It was delicious. Well, now, I had a sweet tooth, kind of, and I had a can of sweetened condensed milk kicking around in my stockpile pantry, my full pantry. And I was like, I don't even know where I got this can of sweetened condensed milk. I don't know if I bought it to make fudge. I don't know. But it was in there, and I'm like, it's one of those things that's like, it doesn't fit in any category. I use evaporated milk. I really don't use sweetened condensed milk. Do I keep it? Do I pass it on to someone else? What do I do? And I remembered hearing about I love pound cake, a sweetened condensed milk pound cake. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to check this recipe out. Took a recipe, tweaked it a little bit, and I used my sweetened condensed milk, and I made a pound cake out of it. Sliced that up, and then I had some hazelnut spread like a Nutella. I think it was the Great Value brand. We put that on top. You saw that picture with the little dab of the hazelnut on there. Let me tell you, what a delicious pound cake with that Nutella on it and a cup of coffee on the side. It was like as if we went out to dinner at a really nice restaurant and had a great meal, and you come home and you say, man, that was a good meal. From Dollar General canned roast beef to Dollar Tree pre-cooked rice to canned biscuits to Stop and Shop, a bag of creamed spinach. We threw it together. It was a great meal. It was fairly healthy. I wouldn't say it was, top of the line healthy, but it was healthy. It definitely was better than takeout. It was cheaper than takeout. It was in my home, and it was on a plate in 10 minutes. So I want to encourage you tonight to remember your stockpile is not for emergencies only. Your stockpile, your overflow pantry, those extra canned goods that you have stashed are there for you to use whenever you feel the need, whenever you kind of go, yeah, you know what? I think I want to throw together a quick and easy dinner tonight. The roast beef was delicious. I have never tried it before. It was the first time I tried it, and it was fantastic. I know months ago, maybe a year ago, they had a recall on those cans of roast beef, and I was able to take 2 back and get a refund, which was great. And they did not carry it for a while. And I was watching somebody on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about how delicious it is. It tastes, if you've ever had Dinty Moore stew, I would say the roast beef kind of had that flavor. It was in a nice gravy. It was delicious. And if you're a family of 1 or 2, for that can for $3, it's a whole lot cheaper to buy that than buying a roast beef. Quick and easy. Put it over a nice piece of bread, have an open-faced sandwich, mashed potatoes on the side. I'm telling you, use your stockpile. Use it as if you want to do takeout, and that's where you're going to get your takeout. Grab those cans of things on the night you just can't do it. You forgot to take the chicken out of the freezer. You forgot to put the pork chops in the crock pot. Don't worry about it. use your stockpile. Find some goodies in your stockpile that you can go to and say, let's throw together a meal and see what we come up with. I would love to hear from you. Have any of you used your overflow pantry stockpile and grabbed a few things and threw it together and made a meal that you were just like, oh, this was the best meal ever? I would love to do this meal over again. It was so good. It's going on the keeper's list of, check off quick and easy dinner. This is one that I will probably do over and over again. That's how much we enjoyed it, including that sweetened condensed milk pound cake. Thanks so much for coming over tonight. I hope you were doing well, filling up that pantry, filling up that stockpile, but most of all, using what is in there. It's there to be used. It's not there to be just looked at and admired. It's there to be used to feed you and your family. Thanks so much for coming over tonight. We'll catch you all on the next video.